Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Almost noon now. Ed and I are going to bring forward a story about a project that we started last year called Stories with Style. And to get us going, we have a kind of a mini documentary that was created by Nicolo Go at Go Creative that will give kind of an overview. And then Ed's going to take us into the process that we went through to develop this project.
We decided to use hip hop as the delivery method for this program because we recognize hip hop as power, as a global force, as a force of storytelling, as a force of political protest around the world.
The goals as far as design were to produce something that was culturally responsive, that really reflected youth culture, but we also wanted to have an outcome be that students started to be able to tell their own stories. They started to be able to self-reflect and become a little bit vulnerable with each other. Not being vulnerable is kind of a survival tool here. And so we wanted to start to break down some of those walls and build those human relationships.
Music has such an incredible power. The beat, the rhythm, the flow. And music is able to touch souls that don't even speak the same language as you. Everybody needs to express themselves. And so by nurturing this to the students and giving them an outlet to express themselves, that's powerful.
Almost without exception, our youth come from very difficult backgrounds, a lot of trauma, a lot of violence, a lot of chaos in their lives. Being familiar with some of the music, I was really excited because I understand that this is a way that we can get the youth to open up and start to share their stories with us.
That was probably my favorite thing about being locked up here. Cause I like music, you know? I like to be able to rap, I like to be able to express myself. I don't like talking to people about myself. I can tell you a lot about myself rapping. I feel like if you don't express yourself and remind people who you are or remind yourself who you are on a day-to-day basis, like I say, you lose yourself in here.
I've had a lot of feedback recently from probation officers saying that this is one of the best things they've ever seen come here, but overcoming that skepticism along the way. Is there gonna be follow through? Is this actually gonna happen? Because the probation officers know better than anyone the impact that a broken promise can have on the students here.
I think it'll be helpful to a lot of people. There's not a lot of people think they got the talent to rap, but they don't try to express themselves and see if they can rap. So I think it'll help a lot of people bring the talent out of them and show people how they really feel deep inside.
I mean, I've never been involved in anything like that. I mean, I rap on the house, but you get attention here. It's like people are rooting for you, you know? See people happy for you, happy for what you're doing. It just, you know, it gives you encouragement. It gives you it makes you feel like, man, I could really do something, you know? People believe in me, and that's gonna make you believe in yourself.
So when we started this program, it took a lot to get to there, and we're going to share some art with you from some of our talented students. But it was a struggle in the beginning. Like myself coming, I've never rapped, I've never done anything, but I consider myself a latchkey kid who was raised as a babysitter. Hip hop was my babysitter. Hip hop was my stepdad. My dad being incarcerated, so this meant a lot to bring something that helped me out during a hard time to some youth to be a part of this. And we struggled with, me coming from like the Wu-Tang, the KRS-One, the 90s hip hop, trying to relate to our students because I learned who Mozzie was. We had to learn a whole lot about Mozzie because our students are big into Mozzie. And so our students, there was a battle in the beginning about, we were trying to be too structured with it, too school-like with it, you know what I mean? That traditional sense that we were talking about earlier. And even some other issues where students were expressing themselves too openly, where it was almost like, hey, you might not want to be confessing to those like that could be maybe used in court, because so we want to kind of be creative with the way that we tell these stories. So what we realized was that we just saw this. Liz and I were just talking about this, and this is very indicative of what happened. We saw this on the indigenizing arts education on Instagram. We were trying to stick to this traditional form of storytelling, but that there's many different ways to shape a story, and we didn't need to be disrespectful to our students. So that each story that our students had is a gift from the creator. And what the power that started happening here was, even with some of the traditional lessons that we were weaving in, trying to weave in literary devices, like teaching alliteration, some of our students were pushing back, like, man, rappers don't use alliteration. That's not what happens. That's not real rap. And but the awesome thing about this project is it started bringing the probation officers in, because the probation officers are hip hop heads, and they grew up on 90s hip hop. They're like, "You're trying to say that Tupac isn't a rapper?" Probation officer Contreras jumped in and started co-teaching a lesson when I was bombing this lesson, trying to use Run DMC, Peter Piper Picked Peppers, and Run Rock Rhymes, and they weren't feeling that at all. But when Contreras came in with the Tupac reference, man, if you think about America's Most Wanted, picture perfect, I paint a perfect picture. And they were like, "Oh, okay." And come to find out, that student who was pushing back had like 3 instances of alliteration in his own rhymes, which was pretty amazing. So he was like showing me, "Mr. Campos, this is alliteration. This is alliteration." I was like, yeah. You got it. And it really just came down to the collaboration, like this magnet, this cipher started forming here. This cipher people started like to get everyone involved to do this. It has been so powerful. I'm gonna let Liz talk about this.
Yeah, so I didn't really give much background as we dove in, but this is J.C. Montgomery School. It's in the Kings County Juvenile Detention Center, and Kings County is a very small county. We don't have many resources. We have a lot of really diverse populations, and we have generational cycles of being system impacted. And so Ed and I had kind of dreamed of doing something like this when we were shut down during the initial pandemic closure in March of 2020. We were asked as consultants to just kind of come together and do some projects that we thought would be of interest that we could bring to our districts. And then I was hired as the principal at J.C. Montgomery. I'm in a dual role where I'm part-time consultant for the county and part-time principal. And then the state did something crazy. They gave us money, and we never get money in schools like this. And they said we could use it for social emotional learning support. And so I called up Ed and I said, "Hey, let's do this. Let's do it for real. Let's not just kind of dream about what could be. Let's do it right now." But by right now, I mean, I need a budget by Friday because I have to spend all this money. And so the J.C. Montgomery staff, I think they thought at first that I was a little bit out there. They didn't really know me. And here I was saying, "Hey, we're going to do all these crazy things. We're going to buy these mobile recording studios. We're going to give the kids some agency and voice in here, where they often feel like they have no agency and they have no voice, where, historically within the system, their voice has been stifled." And so Ed and I jumped into this together, and thank goodness that Ed had many, many people to connect with. He's going to share some of those people we connected with that helped us put this into place quickly.
Yeah, so we brought, me not being a rapper, never rapped, but just the biggest lover of hip hop. I reached out to my friend Josh Levine, a local hip hop artist, videographer. So he was coaching, helping put together the studios with our IT director. The gentleman you see right here, Eric Gonzalez, is a buddy of mine, local professional graffiti artist, and runs a nonprofit called Urbanists Collective that uses art as their weapon for social justice, for protest here in the Central Valley and in the Seattle area. And those two have been huge because even though Eric lives in Seattle, he would zoom in and give the kids lettering while Josh is working with the students on helping them to craft their rhymes and create beats and do the production. Eric would come in, and part of the project we had was them developing their own hip hop persona and doing the artwork for it. So zooming in, and he's got a team that's going to be, we're going to talk about the connections that we're going to take that further here, but the connections keep going. Like
And we also were able to connect with Allison, who, as was mentioned earlier, works for the California Department of Education in the AME division. And Allison, maybe you can remind me in the chat, because I can't even remember how we first connected. But Allison is like Ed. She's one of those people that's a connector, a community builder. And so she was able to connect us as we were in our initial planning stages with Martha Diaz. And she was such a wonderful resource for us. She really, she schooled us on the importance of bringing the history of hip hop to these students, that it couldn't just be about having an expression outlet, that we needed to bring to them the history of the culture, the impact the culture has had and continues to have. We were able to connect with John Gill at Beats, Rhymes, and Life, which is a nonprofit up in the Bay Area, and he gave us some insight into the ways to bring in the therapeutic elements, but to do it in a way that was respectful of the trauma our students had been through. And then Ed, when we were trying to plan these lessons, we thought it would be really great if we could bring in some professionals from the hip hop world to speak to the students. And so he posted out on Twitter, and I'm going to let him talk about some of the connections we made there.
Yeah, so I put it out on Twitter and asked if anyone would like to be interviewed as part of a video from some of our lessons. So got a hold of Mervyn Jenkins that works at Vocabulary right now. Just got his dissertation, I think, right now, so on hip hop in education. And he helped out tremendously. Kayla Holland with breakfreeed.org, a friend of mine from Twitter, D. Lanier, connected me with Kayla. And Kayla works for a nonprofit that serves system impacted youth. So they have been hugely impactful in just getting us to shift our mind around these challenges, because they run contests monthly across the nation for system impacted youth. And really, once we latched onto that idea, like, here's a challenge for our student, it was so much easier to fit within those guidelines, and the students stepped up to take that challenge there. And it's just been nothing short of magical. This first iteration, the art, whereas probably 100% of the students gravitated towards the art. I've got their stickers. The students designed their rap persona stickers, and I've got them here in my water bottle. We used a lot of the work from The Artist's Way, A Spiritual Path to Higher Creativity, after seeing a video from J. Cole showed the students this clip from J. Cole, who they really loved. And they bought into like this idea of doing a brain drain. And so they do a free write. We listen to some beats, some instrumentals to start the class, just kind of vibe into it 5 minutes and let the creative process go. Definitely inspired by Dr. Chris Emden, who started the hip hop ed movement. So I have to give a shout out to Chris Emden. So some of the artwork that the students have created right here, and they really love. Every student got a sticker pack that Urbanist Collective digitized their artwork and then gave to them. So when they have it in their personals, so as they leave the facility, they get a pack of that. And what really happened was when they stepped up we gave them the challenge of creating some art for a presentation like this. So we were going to present at the Spring Q conference last spring, and they went from individuals creating their own raps to like forming like Voltron, like Wu-Tang pretty much, because then there was so much communication, so much listening, so much creativity, learning. The probation officers, Contreras, was like, these kids are helping each other craft their rhymes. They're asking for extra dictionaries so they can look up and improve their vocabularies, doing word studies on their own time. Like, it's just magic started happening. So we want to share with you one of the last some pieces of art that they created. One of our students created this awesome piece of artwork that we turned into a sticker and a t-shirt. And then this is a piece, I'm not sure if we have time to show this last video. This is the song that our students created and collaborated on. Martha, are we doing good on time? We're trying to...
You good.
All right. So this was, they all came together. There was a little bit of enticement with some Buffalo Wild Wings too at the same time. Right, that was definitely dangled right there, but it was some Buffalo Wild Wings, a surprise. But the collaboration was amazing. Like, this was just nothing short of magic. I want to share this song with you all. Yeah.
styles. You know we back at it again, though. From JCN.
Yeah, I got this opportunity, connecting with you like it's a unity. Education is the expectation in this nation, so why you hear me rap this song is like an invitation. The judge took my life away, I got eliminated. In my city, yeah, you know I'm the most hated. And since the age of 13, I've been incarcerated. Stores was style program, it's underestimated. Shout out to JCM, it was my inspiration. Yeah, it was my inspiration.
I love the struggle because it molded me. The law makes money out of scolding me. The teachers weren't really schooling me. I'm not doing enough, but they just threw me a book and left me on my own. And changed, learning from 60 stones. My boys are washed away, so I'm diverting to a better way. I promise mama I will not fall astray. They can't break me in these concrete gates. To struggle and succeed is a responsibility I must face. Yeah, I'm not up to date, but I'm moving at a faster pace. Coming from a land descent, created our own resources which stirred me in the mess.
Yeah, I got this opportunity, connecting with you like it's a unity. Education is the expectation in this nation, so why you hear me rap this song is like an invitation. And since the age of 13, I've been incarcerated. Stories with style program, it's underestimated. Shout out to JCM, it was my inspiration. Yeah, it was my inspiration.
Listen to these stories with style, can turn a foot into a mile. I ain't gotta lie, cause nobody ever gave me guidance. Look up in my eyes, you see potential, cause I'm shining. Incarcerated, still educated, see behind my fake smile. COVID and elections, yeah, it's been a crazy year. The eye-to-eye perspective through this challenge persevered. I try to tell myself we'll be okay, and so I hear education is the key and all the teachers in the rear. You can't blame me cause I'm smart, sophisticated, and I'm obligated. People looking down on me, they hoping that the kid will make it. Locked up with potential, ain't no boundaries cause I'm gonna break them. Locked up with potential, ain't no boundaries cause I'm gonna break them. You probably got a certain thought of me cause of my situation. Trying to persevere and test my limits cause I'm trying to make it. I can't reminisce upon no past or sympathy for haters. Listen to my lyrics, I spit gas and that's an indication.
Yeah, I got this opportunity, connecting with you like it's a unity. Education is the expectation in this nation, so why you hear me rap this song is like an invitation. And since the age of 13, I've been incarcerated. Stories with style program, it's underestimated. Shout out to JCM, it was my inspiration. It was my inspiration.
Yeah, it was my inspiration. Do you know how I'm feeling underestimated? Segregated as a kid, felt incarcerated. On my own cold nights, I felt that people hated. I felt that people hate me. Feeling less than a man, I'm feeling obligated. Cold as hell in this shell, I'm sleeping on a pavement. I'm sleeping on a pavement. Trying to tell my story, can you listen up? Feel the pain in my voice. Turn this music up. Stories with style. I'm trying to get it in. Educate your people, show them how to take a stand. All this robbing in this tune. They don't give it when away you getting popped. They took too many, man, your situation don't define you. Better make a plan, stay in school, do your Dougie, and get out that gym. This program that came to me, helped me speak my mind. Locked up in them decisions, took up hella time. This for them teachers, this for Q, hope you understand. Speak from the heart to let you know about this program.
See, I'ma tell you about this life, tryna make you understand. Started off when I was young, I was in and out that jam. Long nights up in the field, praying God give me a hand. Thugging all up on my lonely, taught me how to be a man. White folks tryna get me cause my skin is kinda tan. But the system's so corrupted, they don't wanna see me win. My mind's so filled with pain, hope my parents understand. Tryna erase all of my past, but it made me who I am. Stories got style, man, I hope you see from my end. I hope you see from my end.
Yeah, I got this opportunity, connecting with you like it's a unity. Education is the expectation in this nation, so why you hear me rap this song is like an invitation. And since the age of 13, I've been incarcerated. Stories with style program, it's underestimated. Shout out to JCM, it was my inspiration. Yeah, it was my inspiration.
Hey, JCM, stories with style. Man, keep your head up. Man, reach for the star. Hey, coming from the heart. Yeah, spread your wings out. Yeah, spread your wings out.
really good question in the chat that says, I wonder how hip hop can be used to help youth get out of gangs. And Milagros shared his own story of being in a gang as a child. And sorry, I'm a little shaky on that part. We just recently lost one of the students that was involved in this project to gang violence. And one of the areas that we're working on this year is bringing in some more people who have been system impacted themselves to work with these youth so that they know that there's a different way. They know there's a different path. Josh has been great about talking to them about, the business aspects, the careers they could have. But when they look at Josh, they don't necessarily see themselves because he hasn't lived their lives. One of the people we're bringing in this year is Aesop. He's a member of the group Living Legends from the Bay Area, and he lives in Fresno. I've known him for years through various mutual friends of ours. And so he is going to come in and mentor the students along with Josh this year. And he is going to be bringing in his own story and how music saved him. We also are going to have a guest speaker from the Beat Within who was also system impacted, and they are now an engineer working in a hospital. And so we don't have all the answers to that, but I agree that is the big question. If this work is being done within facilities like these, it's not just about the art, it's not just about the hip hop culture, but it's about the outcome of what's next for these students. How can we get them to come from this place of pain that you heard in that song and start to heal and to give them outlets and resources and ways to take a different path. So we appreciate your time. I don't know if Ed has anything else to add on, but we were very, very excited to bring this project to you. We're starting it again on Tuesday back at the facility.
Yeah, and I just want to say a lot of that starts with first the personal healing, but the collective healing that we've seen in this power of hip hop with the whole community. When we're talking about the probation officer, with it's just happening throughout. It's permeating throughout the buildings. And Liz, you mentioned what did the student talk to you about last week? They were mentioning a comment like, "Oh, I see what you're trying to do here." I think that's pretty indicative of where we're going and how we're trying to evolve.
Yeah, one of the unfortunate parts about my job is that we see the students multiple times. They don't come in once and leave and everything's okay in their lives. And so most of the students that are in my school right now were there last year around the time that we were doing this project. And one of them shared, hey, you guys are doing this because it's fun. It's a way to get us interested and engaged in school, but you're also doing it so that we are able to write about our lives and so that we can process what we're feeling. And we had never overtly told the students that. So for them to have come to that conclusion themselves is incredible. We are going to be using some different resources we found. Shout out to Dr. Gann for getting me involved with the TRF sessions that they have that are about the therapeutic assets of hip hop education. But those are some of our next steps that we're going to take. Thank you everyone so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you all.